Today we want to look at rectilinear propagation of light, and this is talking about the principle that states that light travels in a straight line. There is a principle in physics that states that light travels in a straight line. So when we have the rays or beam of light, like we discussed in our previous lesson, if you want to get the path of the rays or beams, you will see that they all travel in a straight line. And that principle is what we call rectilinear propagation of light. We observe rectilinear propagation of light naturally during what we call eclipse. There is a natural phenomenon that we call eclipse. We have different eclipses and we are going to study them. Now, eclipse simply means the alignment of sun, moon, and earth. When the sun, the moon, and earth they line in a straight line, it results to what we call eclipse. During an eclipse, the light from sun is being prevented from getting either to the earth or to the moon. In the solar system, it is the sun that supplies the light. Every other thing receives light from the sun. So when there is an alignment between the sun, the earth, and the moon, and either the earth or the moon prevents one of them from getting the light from the sun, we call it an eclipse. We have three major types of eclipses. We have eclipse of the sun, we have eclipse of the moon, and we have the one we call annular eclipse. Eclipse of the sun. In eclipse of the sun, the moon is between the sun and the earth. So this is what happens during eclipse of the sun. The earth lies between the sun and the earth, and therefore the moon will prevent light from sun from coming to the earth. So it will throw shadow to the earth, and when you observe it from the earth, everywhere will be dark because the moon is preventing light from the sun from getting to the earth. We call this eclipse of the sun. Now, in eclipse of the moon, the earth is between the sun and the moon. So what it means that the moon is not getting enough light from the sun because the earth is preventing light coming from the sun from getting to the moon, and this is what we call eclipse of the moon. Now in annular eclipse, the moon is also between the sun and the earth, but the blockage of sunlight is not total. That is, there is a partial blockage of sunlight. Some part of the sunlight is still getting to the earth, but some part of the earth is being prevented by the moon. So this is what we call annular eclipse, when the moon is preventing part of the earth from getting the light from the sun. Not all part of the earth is being prevented. So in this case, we say that there is a partial eclipse. When the whole earth is being prevented by the moon from getting light from the sun, we call it a total eclipse. But during annular eclipse, only part of the earth is not getting light, so we call it a partial eclipse. So this side that is shaded with blue, this is called penumbra. Penumbra. Penumbra is part of the earth that is still getting small lights when there is an annular eclipse, while umbra is part of the earth that is totally blocked from getting sunlight. So this place that is shaded with black is called umbra. So this is what happens in annular eclipse. In annular eclipse, there's part of the earth that is still getting sunlight, and that place is called penumbra, while the part that is not getting light at all is called umbra. So this is it about eclipse. I say we have three types of eclipse: eclipse of the sun, eclipse of the moon, and annular eclipse. And I've defined what eclipse is. And I also talked about rectilinear propagation of light, which state that light travels in a straight line. In our next lesson, we are going to talk about different demonstrations, how we can demonstrate in the lab that light travels in a straight line. Now your assignment. So this is your assignment. We've discussed the three types of eclipse. The sun, the eclipse of the sun, that is the one we also call it solar eclipse. Eclipse of the sun is also called solar eclipse. Eclipse of the moon and annular eclipse. So you use a well-labeled diagram or well-labeled diagrams for each of them and differentiate between three of them. What I mean by this is that you could draw a diagram for each of the eclipse and then you describe what is between which and which in each of them. Thank you.